Chosen one, I need you to stop at this very moment and give these words your full attention, because what I witnessed during the past 3 days, concerning one very small choice you made, caused the entire realm of light to fall silent in admiration. You may no longer remember that moment clearly, because to you it was only a natural response. A decision made quickly before disappearing among the many demands of life. But, my beloved child, what you considered ordinary carried a meaning far deeper than you realized. You stood before a situation in which you could have responded with anger, coldness, selfishness, or bitterness, yet you chose another way. Perhaps you remained silent instead of wounding someone. Perhaps you helped a person when no one was watching. Perhaps you refused to retaliate, even though your heart was still hurting. Or perhaps you kept your word when breaking it would have been easier and more beneficial to you. That choice created waves extending far beyond what you could see, because every action born from sincerity leaves a mark within the sacred realm. I saw that moment clearly. You had no audience, received no praise, and no one stood nearby to acknowledge what you did. The fact that no one was watching made your choice even more precious. You did not act to build an image or prove that you were better than anyone else. You simply listened to the purest part within you. When you walked away from that situation, you may still have felt exhausted and even wondered whether you had been too compassionate. But what you did not know was that the messengers who had quietly observed your journey stopped in their tracks. They were not astonished by an act the world would consider extraordinary, but because when you had every right to choose bitterness, you still refused to let pain transform you into the person who had hurt you. That is far rarer than you imagine. Many people preserve kindness when life is favorable, but only a few protect their goodness while being treated unjustly. That decision traveled outward, like ripples across a still lake. It reached places you could not see and carried a testimony that your heart had matured through adversity. Not every wound made you cold. Not every betrayal forced you to lose faith. You learned how to establish boundaries without nurturing hatred, how to leave without destroying, and how to speak the truth without trying to humiliate another person. I had waited to see this quality form within you, because a great gift can be safely entrusted only to someone who will not use power to avenge the past. Had you been elevated while your heart was still ruled by pain, what you received might have become an instrument for proving yourself, controlling others, or making them hurt as you once hurt. But the choice you recently made revealed that you are leaving that cycle behind. You no longer allow old pain to determine who you will become. Therefore, a special gathering was envisioned within the radiant heights, not to judge you, but to review the milestones that shaped the person you are today. Every time you accepted a loss without abandoning integrity was brought forward. Every promise you kept when no one could verify, your faithfulness was acknowledged. The moments when you helped someone without telling anyone, the days when you continued fulfilling your responsibilities despite complete exhaustion, and the times you refused to participate in conversations that diminished others were all placed before the light. I saw the messengers look at one another in silence, because they understood that you were no longer merely praying for a new season. You had become someone capable of preserving that new season. Your preparation did not happen through loud ceremonies, but through small choices repeated on days when no one paid attention. When your case was mentioned, There was no applause intended to elevate you above anyone else. There was solemnity, because what was recognized as rare was not perfection, but your ability to continue choosing what was right, while parts of you were still healing. You still experience moments of weakness, still have negative thoughts at times, and still have many things to learn. I know all of this, and I do not love you because you have never made mistakes. I cherish you because after every fall, you continue returning to honesty. You know how to apologize when you recognize that you have hurt someone. You know how to examine yourself rather than continually blaming your circumstances. You have begun to understand that strength does not mean never experiencing pain. It means refusing to use pain as justification for cruelty. This quality caused a declaration of recognition to be spoken. This person is ready to enter a greater level of responsibility. Understand this clearly. Heaven's recognition is not a medal for your pride. It is an invitation into a season in which your influence may grow wider, and therefore every choice will carry greater weight. An opportunity may appear that places you where many people listen to your voice. You may be entrusted with resources, work, a relationship, or an ability to support others. When this happens, do not forget the small moment that brought you here. It was not a loud voice, remarkable talent, or a perfect appearance that drew attention from the higher realm. It was the way you behaved when no one was watching. That must continue to be your foundation. When more is entrusted to you, remain honest in the smallest details. When you possess authority, remember what it felt like to be overlooked. When others need you, never use their vulnerability to elevate yourself. I also want you to be cautious of messages claiming that you must subscribe, activate notifications, or perform some outward action in order to preserve your protection. You may support a place that has helped you as an expression of gratitude, but your blessing is not locked behind a button. Genuine agreement is not proven through an action upon a screen, but through the way you continue living after hearing these words. Let your affirmation be expressed by preserving integrity when another challenging opportunity appears. Choose patience when you could become angry, truth when deception could offer faster benefits, and humility when others begin praising you. That is how you protect what is being prepared. Perhaps you are now trying to remember which particular choice created this movement. Do not become anxious if you cannot identify it precisely. What matters is not discovering a moment in which to take pride, but recognizing how much you have changed. I saw you in a very specific situation. You had every reason to act through your wound, yet you paused. That pause was where maturity spoke. Perhaps you refused to say the cutting words that entered your mind. Perhaps you placed the needs of someone vulnerable above your own convenience. Perhaps you defended the reputation of someone who was absent and unable to defend themselves. Whatever form it took, that choice demonstrated that the light within you is no longer merely something you speak about. It has become your way of living. Step through the veil with me and see what happened afterward. When you turned and walked away from that situation, a door, symbolizing the old season, gently closed. There was no great noise, yet the authority of a repeated cycle became weaker. You are no longer required to repeat patterns of response inherited through pain, family history, or the years when self-protection was the only thing you understood. A new road began to appear, one upon which you can be strong without becoming rigid, maintain boundaries without bitterness, and possess influence without controlling others. the messengers were given the task of expanding the support around you. Not so that you would avoid every trial, but so that your next lessons would carry you upward instead of pulling you backward. During the coming days, you may encounter a similar situation on a larger scale. Do not be surprised, because maturity is often confirmed through repeated choices. This time, the pressure may be stronger. The reward for compromise may appear more attractive, or the person before you may touch the place where you are most easily wounded. Remember my words. You do not need to react immediately. Pause, observe, and ask yourself which choice will allow your heart to remain peaceful when that day ends. Do not choose merely to win for a moment, and then carry heaviness for years. You have traveled too far to return to your former way of living. What awaits you ahead requires a stable heart that cannot be easily manipulated by praise, insult, or the need to prove itself. My beloved child, I want you to receive this recognition with humility. You do not need to tell everyone that heaven has noticed you. Allow the results to speak on your behalf. Continue helping quietly. Keep your word when no one is checking, and protect the purity of your intentions. When the new door opens, you will understand why one small decision mattered so greatly. It demonstrated that you can be trusted with something greater. Not because you are stronger than everyone else, but because you learned how to unite strength with compassion. Not because you no longer carry wounds, but because you no longer grant your wounds authority over your actions. I am here to tell you that your quiet efforts have been seen. What you did during the past 3 days did not disappear amid the noise of the world. It became a milestone, marking a new stage of maturity. Continue walking calmly, because what is approaching is not merely a reward. It is also an opportunity for you to become a source of support for more people. When they ask what enabled you to remain standing, you do not need to speak of mysteries or praise. Show them a life that chooses what is right within small moments. Those choices build destiny, create trust, and open doors that no pressure could open in your place. I have seen you, my beloved child, and what I see brings me joy. You are becoming the person you once prayed to become, my child. You created a moment so rare that the realm of light became silent to witness it. Because in the midst of a situation capable of crushing a human heart, you did not choose the road of bitterness. Throughout human history, people have often responded to pain according to familiar patterns. When betrayed, they easily close their hearts. When treated unjustly, anger rises like a fire, seeking to consume everything associated with the pain. When trust is trampled, coldness becomes the armor many people wear to avoid being wounded again. These responses are understandable, because people often protect themselves by becoming the very thing they once feared. They were hurt, so they want others to experience pain. They were abandoned, so they learn to leave first. They were deceived, so they no longer want to trust anyone. These cycles have existed for generations and become so predictable that darkness expected you to respond in the same way. But in the moment when you were expected to follow the familiar pattern, you chose a completely different road. I saw what happened to you. It was not a small misunderstanding that could be forgotten after a few days, nor was it a passing sadness that would disappear by itself. You faced a genuinely heavy situation in which specific people or circumstances treated you wrongly. Their words carried weight. Their actions left marks. The betrayal reached the deepest place within you, where you had once placed trust, hope, and sincerity. You had every reason to become angry, You could have told the story in a way that caused everyone to take your side, and they would have understood. You could have responded with cutting words and caused the person who hurt you to lower their head in shame. You might also have chosen to close every door and never permit anyone to come near again. No one would have blamed you for giving up, because the burden you carried appeared greater than what one person could endure calmly. Yet at that breaking point you did something. Darkness was not prepared to confront. You refused to let pain decide who you would become. You did not deny what happened. You did not pretend that you felt no pain or use beautiful words to hide the nights when you cried alone. The difference was that you did not give that wound control over your future. You chose to pause before saying something you might regret. You chose to step away from the conflict instead of using anger to claim victory. Perhaps no one witnessed that moment, but I did. I saw you place your phone down instead of sending the response. I saw you swallow the statement that could have wounded another person deeply. I saw you ask yourself how you could preserve dignity without becoming like the person who hurt you. That was not weakness. It was strength refined through fire. A weak person reacts immediately to release anger, but a strong person preserves calmness until they can act with discernment. That choice created a change greater than you understood. When you refused to answer darkness with darkness, you ended a cycle that could have continued spreading. Had you taken revenge, the other person might have used your reaction to justify their actions. Had you become cold, innocent people entering your future could have suffered because of wounds they did not create. Had you allowed bitterness to take root, you would have carried the person who hurt you into every new relationship, even after they were no longer physically present. But you refused to permit this. You chose healing instead of passing pain forward. You established boundaries without cursing anyone. You left without destroying. Through that apparently quiet choice, you protected not only your present, but also the people who will enter your future. I want you to understand that compassion does not mean accepting injustice. Forgiveness does not mean returning to the place that caused you to collapse. Peace does not require opening the door to someone who has not learned to respect boundaries. What drew the attention of the realm of light was not that you ignored wrongdoing, but that you protected yourself without losing your inner purity. You can say no without hatred. You can end a connection without wishing harm upon another person. You can care from a distance while understanding that distance is necessary. Your maturity is revealed through this balance. Your heart remains gentle, but your eyes are no longer naive. You still possess compassion, but you no longer grant access to people who repeatedly abused your trust. Perhaps you once wondered why you had to pass through such a difficult trial. I am not saying that pain was sent to punish you or test how much suffering you could endure. But when it happened, you transformed it into a place of growth. You could not control another person's choices, but you controlled what you permitted the pain to create within you. This is the victory few people recognize. Success is not only accomplishing something impressive before the world. Some victories occur within a quiet room, when someone decides not to repeat what damaged their family for generations. Some breakthroughs begin when you declare that this pain will stop with you. This bitterness will not be passed forward, and those who come after you will not carry what you once carried. The realm of light was not astonished because you experienced no emotions. I know you were angry, sad, and at times wanted to give up. What was precious was that although your emotions rose strongly, you did not permit them to become a king ruling your actions. You allowed yourself to cry without using tears to manipulate. You acknowledged being wounded without turning pain into permission to cause harm. You maintained distance without allowing your heart to become stone. This choice was not easy, and you must not regard it as something insignificant. It required far more courage than immediate retaliation. Revenge takes only one moment of anger, but healing requires you to choose again every day. From this point forward, continue protecting the goodness that has been preserved within you. Do not return to the former place merely because you feel lonely. Do not lower your boundaries because the person who hurt you appears with a few words of regret. Allow time, responsibility, and genuine change to prove what words cannot yet confirm. You do not need to punish them, but neither are you obligated to rescue them from the consequences they created. Allow each person to face their own responsibility. Your responsibility is to continue living honestly. Heal the places that still ache and refuse to let hardness become your new identity. My child, what appeared determined to break you unintentionally revealed a deep strength that even you had not previously recognized. You did not merely overcome the trial. You overcame the former version of yourself, the one who might once have reacted from fear, emptiness, or the longing for recognition. Now you are entering a new way of living, in which peace no longer depends upon someone else's apology, worth no longer waits for outward confirmation, and the future is no longer chained to what happened. The moment you chose light, when you possessed every reason to choose darkness, became a milestone in your journey. Remember it whenever you doubt your strength. You proved that you can be hurt without becoming someone who hurts others. Lose something precious without losing yourself, and pass through injustice while preserving integrity. That is why the realm of light became still to observe you, because you did not merely survive a battle. You ended a cycle and opened a new road through your own pure choice. My beloved child, what drew heaven's attention was not that you gritted your teeth and forced yourself to endure, but that at the moment you possessed every reason to become bitter, you still chose compassion and preserved your dignity. I know some people continue only because they have no other road. Some remain through stubbornness, and others conceal pain beneath an outward appearance of strength. But what you did was far deeper. You stood before a genuine insult, undeniable pain, and an injustice that could have caused anyone to become angry. You had every right to speak, turn away, or respond with the same coldness another person had shown you. No one could have blamed you if anger had led you during that moment. Yet, as every emotion within urged you to hurt the person who had wounded you, a nobler part of you spoke. You paused. You refused to let pain make you a copy of the person who hurt you. You chose what was good when you possessed the ability to create destruction, and that choice revealed who you truly are. Perhaps it was a conversation in which you knew exactly what to say to wound the other person deeply. You understood their weaknesses, knew which words they would never forget, and had you spoken them, those around you might have believed you were completely justified. Yet you restrained your speech. You did not pretend that what they did was right or deny your feelings, but you refused to turn your mouth into a weapon. You may have remained silent to avoid saying something you would later regret, or chosen clear words that contained no poison. Perhaps you had the opportunity to expose the failure of someone who had never protected you. And you knew that speaking publicly could destroy their reputation. Yet you did not use truth as revenge. You maintained boundaries and protected yourself without turning pain into an excuse to destroy someone else. Or perhaps you had every reason to leave, and no one had the right to criticize you. Yet you chose to remain a little longer to fulfill a responsibility. Give the situation one final opportunity, or leave peacefully, rather than in anger. The greatest events sometimes occur where no one else can see them. Some battles are known only to you and take place within a quiet room after every sound has faded. You sit alone with memories that make your heart heavy, while bitterness knocks at the door with arguments that sound reasonable. It reminds you that the person does not deserve forgiveness, that you must preserve anger in order to protect yourself, and that releasing it would make you weak. It attempts to persuade you to replay the story every day so that the wound remains fresh and the person who hurt you continues occupying your mind. But you recognized that forgiveness is not a declaration that wrongdoing has become acceptable. Forgiveness does not force you to return to the place that shattered you. It is the decision to stop drinking poison, while hoping someone else suffers the consequences. You deliberately released your right to revenge, not because the other person deserved it, but because your peace deserved protection. At the moment when you responded differently from what pain demanded, heaven saw the depth within you. I looked not only at your outward action, but at the struggle that occurred before you made the choice. I know how you trembled, how many words you swallowed, and how difficult it was not to allow resentment to control you. Other people may have seen only your calmness and assumed that it was easy, but I know what that calmness cost you. I saw how hard you fought to preserve the best part of yourself. You demonstrated that circumstances have no authority to rewrite your nature, that another person's unkindness cannot force you to lose compassion, and that your dignity does not rise or fall according to the way the world treats you. This is not softness. This is strength refined through fire. Most people respond according to what they receive. When respected, they become gentle. When disregarded, they immediately grow cold. When loved, they know how to return love, but when betrayed, they permit betrayal to become a reason for living suspiciously. Their character changes with the environment like water, disturbed by every wind. But you revealed a different foundation. You refused to let one harmful action decide what kind of person you would become. You understood that if you lost yourself merely because someone treated you wrongly, they would not only have hurt you once, they would also possess the power to transform you according to their behavior. Therefore, you anchored yourself to values deeper than temporary emotions. You could be angry without becoming cruel, disappointed without becoming dishonest, and able to leave without destroying everything behind you. This is rare maturity. I want you to know that compassion does not mean continually enduring disrespect. You are not called to remain forever silent before wrongdoing, nor must you stay in circumstances that repeatedly harm you merely to prove that you are a good person. Grace does not eliminate boundaries. Kindness does not require offering endless opportunities to someone with no intention of changing. At times, the noblest choice is to speak decisively and walk away. Sometimes silence stops being peace and becomes permission. Therefore, keep your heart gentle but your eyes clear. You can forgive, while limiting someone's access. You can wish them well without returning them to the position from which they once hurt you. You can refuse revenge while still allowing them to accept responsibility for their choices. Genuine compassion does not make you smaller. It makes you free without removing wisdom. The angel assigned to protect you witnessed your entire journey. Not only the final moment, but also the long days when you wrestled with your thoughts. Every tear, whispered prayer, moment of self-doubt, and time you wanted to give up was seen. None of your silent battles was regarded as meaningless. When you chose restraint instead of anger, it was not a small act that disappeared unnoticed. It became evidence that you can be entrusted with greater responsibilities without using power for retaliation. It showed that when you are elevated, you will not use your new position to humiliate those who once disregarded you. When your influence grows, you will not permit old wounds to turn you into someone controlling. You demonstrated that your heart is strong enough to carry power without being distorted by it. Therefore, what was marked was not a file in the way people imagine, but the character revealed through your choice. I saw someone capable of standing amid injustice without losing integrity. I saw someone who could be insulted without turning their life into a journey of revenge. I saw someone mature enough to understand that the greatest victory is not making an opponent hurt as deeply as you did, but leaving the situation without allowing darkness to attach itself to your heart. Your choice opened a new level of maturity, because from that moment, you were no longer merely someone who survived pain. You became someone who knows how to transform pain into wisdom. Do not believe that compassion allowed someone else to win. When you refused to respond with the same kind of energy, you did not surrender authority to them. You reclaimed authority over yourself. Someone unable to control their reaction remains ruled by circumstances, but you demonstrated the ability to stop, reflect, and choose. That is genuine freedom. You do not need their apology in order to experience peace. You do not need them to admit wrongdoing before you can continue. You do not need everyone to understand the story before knowing that your choice was right. I saw it, and that is enough for your heart to rest, my beloved child. Continue preserving the dignity that carried you through that moment. Do not return and pick up bitterness merely because an old memory sometimes begins to hurt again. Healing does not always move in a straight line. One day, you may feel that you have released everything, and then a word or image causes sadness to return. When this happens, do not condemn yourself. Choose freedom once again. Each time you refuse to nourish the offense, the chains become weaker. Each time you prevent anger from writing your words, you become stronger. Each time you remember that you possess the right to establish boundaries without carrying hatred, the light within you becomes clearer. I am proud of what you chose when no one was watching. You could have destroyed, but you chose to preserve. You could have wounded, but you chose to stop. You could have allowed circumstances to determine who you became, but you chose to remain faithful to the noble nature I placed within you. That is what made you different. Continue forward without needing to display this victory before anyone. The peace within you will tell the story. The way you live after being wounded will reveal your strength. What I am preparing ahead will require precisely the quality you have demonstrated. A heart that knows how to love without being naive, forgive while maintaining boundaries, and stand firmly without becoming cold. You passed through a trial, not through the strength of anger, but through the power of self-control. And that is a victory no one can take from you.